I'm Ben Harmon here with ASW. Welcome to Tech Talk Tuesdays. This episode we're going to be talking about some analog and digital consoles, differences between them, pros and cons, and hopefully give you some information to make a choice about maybe a board you're looking at, or maybe you're just looking for fun. So here we have what you would think of as a typical analog console. It's a little smaller, but they get bigger and they all kind of work the same. You're probably used to this kind of a thing. You got your inputs at the top, and then you've got your preamp gain, and then you've got maybe some EQ, a few aux sends, a pan, you got a mute and a pre-fade lesson, and your fader. Pretty simple, pretty typical analog board for many, many years. Hasn't changed much because it works and it's pretty great. And then you've got each channel goes along. So in this board we've got 6 channels. We've got an additional 2 stereo channels, and so it's a small console. Works as you would expect. Hopefully you've used an analog console once or twice before, and it works well and not too much to it. A few years later, now we're talking about digital consoles. And we come along, we've got 2 digital consoles here. We got a Allen & Heath QU16 and a Behringer X32. The X32 especially is a real popular board. A lot of churches and smaller groups used it. It's really one of the first boards to come out that was really cost effective in its price point. Mainly doesn't sound quite as good as some of the boards available today. Even this QU16 sounds a fair bit better than the Behringer, but for the price and the user experience and learning curve at the time especially, it was a really good board. So what we want to do is we want to just kind of discuss some of the differences between the analog boards and the digital boards, and what you want to keep in mind if you're looking to buy a new soundboard, or trying to suggest something to someone else. So the main thing that analog consoles are still really good for is their simplicity. You can see everything that's going on all at the same time. You can see, oh, this cable's plugged in here, it goes through. I can visually see what the gain is set to, what the EQ is set to, how much my aux sends are turned up, where it's panned, if it's muted, how loud the fader is. And it's all right there in front of you. So from a using perspective, it works, real simple. If it's like that and you see it, it works. Unless something's broken, which happens. But it's really nice, So anybody can walk up and they can see, take a look at your board, they can see what's going on, and they know what's happening. Not too much, to complicate things. So, especially in scenarios where you got different people using boards, and maybe they're not all familiar with, digital consoles, it's a great option. Still a great option for, volunteer-based teams, anywhere where you want to make sure that, there's not too much going on for people to keep track of. And then we have digital consoles, on the contrary, you can have a lot of things going on in the background that you don't necessarily see. So especially if we start over here with the X32, you've got layers on this side here. So if we push one of these buttons, it'll go to a different layer, and that's a different configuration of faders. So even each layer has separate faders. So maybe you're looking at these first 16 channels here, but maybe you've got something on. Maybe you've got a flute trying to play and you can't hear it, and it's like, oh, well, I can't find it. Where is it? Well, it's because it's on your second fader bank here. So that's one of the big differences between analog and digital consoles, is that you can't always see what's going on. Also, in a big part of what's going on there is that you've got what you maybe would call a fat channel. And so a fat channel is all of your processing represented, like in your analog board, on each channel going down through. So you've got a preamp, you go along, you've got an equalizer, you've got bus sends, you get your main send, and you also got a gate and a compressor, which you often don't have on an analog board. And so all this actually represents the processing for each channel, and it affects what channel you have selected. So if we select the click track here, we can see what's adjusting for that channel. If we come back up to the kick drum, we can see, and we can even see on the screen here some of the things that are going on. Same with the snare. We can click over there and we can see, this is what's going on with that. So at any one time, you can't, see what's going on with every channel, and you have to remember where things are, and you have to go and hit the different buttons in order to see, what's going on in your console. So in some respects, it's nice because you can do a lot more, but then also you can't see what's going on. So that's one of the main differences that people have to keep in mind as they start going to a digital console, is that you got to remember what's going on so you can put your hand on it real quick, because you can't just look and see, that's where that is. I'm Ben Harmon. This is Tech Talk Tuesdays from ASW. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.